right, step 2 in leveling up your first aid care and capabilities is going to be a situational awareness, actions, and safety. Step 2 is a transitional phase where you're going to take the time to intentionally gather information and effectively decide whether and to what level you can engage and possibly or not provide hands-on care to that person or those people that are injured. Next is actions, and this is going to be 3 parts. And I know that's a lot, but those 3 parts or those 3 actions are going to be check to, call to, and hands-on care. The 2 things we're checking are, once again, the situation, make sure it's safe. We're going to be doing that from a far distance, from near, and from up close where we may be providing hands-on. We want to assess, can I move from where I'm at, whether it's far or near, up close to that person and provide care. Part 2 of check is going to be, if you remember from the basics of first aid, our Good Samaritan law covers us and provides that we can render first aid and be legally protected, but part of that is we need to obtain consent. We need to make sure that they actually want us to help. As crazy as it sounds, people can actually refuse help if they're catastrophically injured. So we want to make sure we're checking that scene or that situation from far, near, and close. Can I effectively engage? And if not, I may need to hold out from a far distance or from near and just be that line of contact with 911 or the higher level of care and that person who's injured. We want to check with that person. Hey, are you injured? I know first aid. I can help. Once they've given us our consent, now we want to call to. Those 2 things we're calling for are 911 and a first aid kit and an AED. We want to absolutely be specific with this. We don't want to just yell out, somebody call 911, somebody grab a first aid kit and AED. We need to be intentional. We need to be direct. John, go call 911. Mary, go get the first aid kit and the AED. On top of it, right now, what we're doing, if you think back to the step 1 video, which we'll link to up here, your mindset and leadership is right now you're actually taking action. You're moving that situation forward. You're directing things. And through those actions, through that leadership, through that example, that guide for the people around you, you're bringing those emotions down. You're helping that person who's injured to calm down. So it's paramount that we establish that mindset and that leadership. So we've checked to, we've called for 911, we've called for that first aid kit and the AED. Now we want to provide hands-on care, but before we do, we want to make sure we're assessing for safety. The hands-on care of check to, call to, and hands-on care, that hands-on care is a mental reminder that, hey, that's where I'm going to be transitioning to. But before I can transition there, I need to make sure, once again, I'm providing for safety. Now, this isn't situational safety. We've already assessed that and checked that. What we're talking about here is PPE or personal protective equipment or BSI, body substance isolation precautions. Effectively, it's eye protection, maybe respiratory protection, and gloves, right? Because we want to make sure that we're isolating any type of bodily fluids or, say, blood, sweat, vomit, spit, or anything. We want to isolate ourselves from that and that from ourselves, because we want to make sure after this is all done that we get home in the same condition that we came in and stepped into that situation for. Once again, safety being paramount to any first aid situation, we need to consider that. So we've checked the situation, we've got situational awareness, we're paying attention to our surroundings, we notice something happens, we're using our 5 senses and our situational awareness to evaluate, can I, as I'm checking the situation, can I engage from far, can I engage from near, or can I get up hands close? I'm going to check with that person and make sure they actually need help. I get that consent, so I'm protected by the Good Samaritan law. Once again, we went over that in this basics of first aid video. I'm also going to link to my webpage where we have a couple of articles regarding the Good Samaritan law. That link will be down below. We've checked with that person. We have their consent. Now I'm going to call out intentionally for 2 things, 911 and that first aid kit. We've done that. Now I'm transitioning into possibly providing hands-on care. That providing of hands-on care is no different than you assessing whether you can actually step in. I can't tell you, nobody else is going to tell you whether it's safe for you to step in and engage. Just like nobody can tell you whether it's safe for you to engage and put hands on, provide that care without PPE or without gloves, without eye protection, without respiratory protection. Nobody can tell you whether you should or shouldn't. Personally, I'll always put it on. Now, the caveat to that is a life-threatening situation and or a family member. If I've got a family member who's injured, I don't care about gloves. I don't care about eye protection. I'm stepping in and handling business. If it's a stranger, depending on that situation, I'll use my experience to gauge whether I should or shouldn't. So you'll have to live with those ramifications in that decision. But you need to think your way to that decision versus just randomly jumping in, because you could once again be injured from that. So we've got our situational awareness, we've got our actions, check, call, care, and we button that up with safety right before we transition into steps 3, 4, and 5, which is where I'll be going over in the next few videos, and you're actually going and providing that hands-on care. I hope you guys have a great day. Please give me a thumbs up, like the video, hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and leave a comment. Have a great day.